This is a great honor for every fan of the Dallas Cowboys. I'm honored to be in the NFL.
What can I say? Mamba out.
All right, what's happening, everybody? Welcome to the afternoon show presented by ESEN. I'm Chris Gonzalez, joined by Tony Gonzalez. How's it going?
Going pretty well. We had some interesting baseball games last night, and some interesting Monday night football games. So let's jump into it. Let's start off with Major League Baseball. Chris, what do you think about the Seattle Mariners putting on Toronto 10-3 and now lead the series 2-0, and will go home for the next two games starting on Wednesday?
Yeah, I think Seattle put a stranglehold on the series. But I think the key to last night they just started pounding. They just started pounding the ball as the game went on. They were up by like 3 in the fourth inning, and then from that point on, they just kept adding on. I think the key to it was winning that game one, being able to win that game one on the road after having to use so much of your pitching the game before just to get there. I mean, they had to use some of their starters, so they didn't have some guys available. So to be able to pull off that game one, and then to back it up and win game two on the road, I mean, they put themselves in prime position to. I mean, all they got to do is win 2 out of the next 4, and three of those would be at home. So yep. I mean, they technically only have to win one game in Toronto to win the series.
Well, they don't have to do that now.
Yeah, I mean, they don't have to, but I mean, if Toronto was to get one of these, they've set themselves up good. I mean, they might not even have to go back to Toronto if they could take care of business at home. But now, I mean, you got 4 chances to win 2 games, and three of them games at home. So I mean, you have to feel real good about your chances.
Yeah, you have to. Seattle's pitching has been good. I mean, they've only given up the first game. I think they gave up 1 or 2 runs. This game they only give up 3. The relief pitching's been excellent for Seattle, and this game they started hitting the ball. So yeah, Toronto's definitely behind the 8 ball.
And I messed up. You have 5 games. 5 games to win 2.
5 games, yeah.
I said 4. They have 5.
Yeah, Toronto's in deep trouble. No doubt about it. So let's move on to the next one. Pretty interesting game. The LA Dodgers win a 2-1. Snell pitched fantastic. 8 innings. Maybe they should have left him in the 9th. I don't know. But first of all, I want to talk about that play. I forget what inning he was in. It was fairly early in the game when bases loaded, 1 out, balls it out to the outfield. And it looks like, he actually saved a home run. But everybody thought he caught the ball. He didn't. It went off his glove, and then it raised off the wall, and then he got it. Runners didn't run at first, got confused. Finally, they ran, and or at least some of them ran, but they got the force at home, and then nobody went to third because they thought they caught the ball, so they ran down to third base and touched it and got a double play. What'd you think about that crazy play?
To be honest with you, I didn't see that play.
Okay.
I fell asleep kind of early last night. That's one reason that if the poll in those videos didn't get up till this morning.
Okay.
I came after we done our show last night at 8, and I went outside, smoked a cigarette, came back in, and started watching more of the football game. And next thing I know, I'll wake up about 8 o'clock this morning to my alarm going off. So I missed that. That's the way you described it. Though. I've seen that happen before, but I mean, yeah, that's crazy. But you would think that somebody would have noticed that the ball came off the wall and the runners would have started moving.
It was hard to tell full speed. It really was. But the runner from third did go to home, and they barely got the force because he ended up tagging. They barely got the force. I mean, just barely. But I don't understand why the guy from second never went to third. He never. I mean, went to third, and so they went down there and touched the base. So I don't know what they got really confused. It was and it took them, and I didn't understand why it took them so long once they seen the ball hit the wall. Why it took them so long to figure it out? Because it took the umpires and everybody a long time to figure this out. And it was as soon as I seen it hit the wall, and they showed the play at home. I said, he's out at home. That's a force. And dude didn't run to 30, went out to touch the base. I said, that's a double play. It's pretty easy.
Who was hitting the ball?
It was the Dodgers.
Okay, so that's probably why I saw Mathis saying these umpires are cheating.
It wasn't no cheating.
But no, I saw he posted that last night. These umpires are cheating. I was like, and I looked, and I'm like, Dodgers are up 1-0. What?
Yeah.
What do you mean the umpires are cheating? I bet you it was that play that he was talking about.
I mean, the guy at home was barely out, but he was out. It was a real close play at home. But he because it was a force play, maybe he thought he had to tag him. Maybe that's what he was thinking. That I think everybody thought you had to make the tag, and they're calling him out, because of the and I understood they had to go back and make sure that it was a, that he didn't catch the ball, because if he caught the ball tag, it would have been a force out. He would have had to tag him if he were tagged up.
Yeah,
so
and the guy at second wouldn't have had to go to third.
No, not on a fly ball. So it caught fly ball. Yeah,
because the batter would have been out, so there would have been nothing forcing him to third base.
Yeah, it was a crazy play. It was definitely interesting. But the Dodgers again got great pitching. Milwaukee had a chance in the ninth. Well, what really hurt Milwaukee was in the top of the ninth. They're up they're down 1-0. And they bring in a pitcher, and he got in trouble, and he gives up a run. So now it's 2-0. So they get up and they score a run pretty quick. They had runners at third and second with 2 outs, and couldn't get the run in. But if they hadn't give up that run in the ninth, it would have been tied. So that the Milwaukee's relief pitching let them down a little bit in this game. Good game, big game tonight. Dodgers versus Milwaukee. In Milwaukee, Dodgers up 1-0. Again, they're going to try to get a stranglehold like Seattle if they can win tonight. Yamamoto pitches for the Dodgers and Peralta for Milwaukee. So, Chris, your thoughts on tonight's game?
Which game? I was looking up. I was trying to look up something real quick.
Oh, the Dodgers and Milwaukee for tonight.
That's a big game for the Brewers. You don't want to fall down 0-2, and the Dodgers are already so dangerous at home anyway. Which, I mean, Brewers are tough at home, so if they do lose, you get to go back to Milwaukee, try to get a couple, but you're going to have to win it.
They're Milwaukee now.
Oh yeah, they are in Milwaukee. I forgot Milwaukee's the higher seed in this series. Yeah.
Yes, they're Milwaukee now.
Milwaukee can't afford to lose tonight. You can't go down 0-2 at home and go to Los Angeles. It's the same thing to me. The formula to beat the Dodgers is you got to keep it close to first 4 innings, and then you have to make their starting pitcher throw pitches and get their starting pitcher out of there by the 6th inning. Hopefully the 5th, but if you can get their starting pitcher out there at the 6th by the 6th inning, you're going to have a chance against the Dodgers because they don't have the strongest bullpen. And I mean, we've seen it even against the Reds. Like if the Reds could have took advantage of opportunities, that series might have been different because of those 8th innings. I mean, yeah, for me, the key for the Brewers is their pitching has to keep it close in the first 5 innings, and you got to get to their bullpen as quick as possible. And if you get to that bullpen quick, you have a chance, especially if your pitching isn't giving up a lot of runs. Like their pitching last night done the job. Like you only give up 1 run going into the 9th. Like you can't blame that on your pitching at all. You got to get some offense going. But if they need their pitching to do the same thing tonight, then they got to get their bats going tonight.
Yes. Yeah, because the reliever that came in from the Dodgers in the 9th last night, he struggled and didn't make it through the game, and through the rest of the inning, had to bring somebody else in. And he struggled. It was big for the Dodgers to get that run in the top of the 9th. If they don't get that run in the top of the 9th, I'm not sure they win that game. So we'll see what happens tonight with this game. Should be a good one. Let's move on to some Monday Night Football. Let's go to the first game that happened. It was
I just saw
Lan-
that. I just watched that play. Yeah, you,
Uh-huh,
you can see it bounce off the wall,
Yeah.
and he kind of caught it off the wall.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, umpires got it right. You can't, because if it hits the wall, even though it didn't hit the ground, if it hits something before you catch it, it's not an out. Just like on a foul ball, if it hits that net before the player catches it, it's not an out. So yeah, so as soon as it hits off that wall and you got it, it's just like a ground ball or anything else. Like yeah, it's a force out.
The play was crazy, and it kind of sucks because the outfielder, even though he didn't catch it, he got the ball right back in. He made a great play because that was a home run, and he robbed that guy of a home run, even though he didn't catch it. But he ended up getting better than catching it because he got a double play. If he catches it, they score a run on a tag up.
Yeah.
So it was a crazy play. Let's move on to Monday Night Football. Atlanta over Buffalo, 24-14. Atlanta, 443 total yards, 210 yards rushing. Michael Penix Jr. had a pretty good game, 250 yards throwing, and he had one TD. Bijan Robinson, 170 yards rushing and a TD. Buffalo only 291 yards total offense, 134 rushing. So they did pretty good rushing in football, but they give up 4 sacks and 2 interceptions, did Buffalo. So Atlanta dominated this game. The game was even closer than probably what the score was closer than what the game was. Has teams figured out Buffalo? I mean, to me, if you run the football in Buffalo, you keep them off the field, and Buffalo's defense is not that good. I think teams are figuring it out. And my question is, how good is Atlanta? I mean, they here a few weeks ago got beat, I think, by Carolina or somebody 30-0. It looked like one of the worst teams of football. Then you turn around and beat Buffalo. Chris, your thoughts on this game?
I thought it'd be a close game. I actually liked the Falcons on the spread. Not saying I thought the Falcons was going to win the game, but I thought the Falcons are a better team than what a lot of people think. Everybody has a problem of overreacting from one game, just like after the first game of the year, the Detroit Lions were the worst team in the NFL. They were terrible. Dan Campbell don't know what he's doing. Only reason they were any good last year is because they had Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn as their coordinators. Then you look at the rest of the games that they played until this week where they lost, but it went like they got killed. And if you look at the Lions' numbers, their offense is putting up better numbers this year than they did off to a better start this year than they were last year. But the public just reacts to one game so much. And, the Falcons had a bad game. But for one, they had a terrible game against Carolina. But for one, Carolina has not lost at home this year. And nobody talks about that. Carolina is a better team than what people give them credit for. Everybody wants act like Carolina is just straight trash. Carolina, are they the best team in the league? No, but they're not the worst team in the league either. I think Carolina is better than the Jets. I think Carolina is better than the Titans. I mean, Carolina is not bad, and especially at home, they play good there at home. So with Atlanta, I think Atlanta, because I got asked this yesterday too, if I thought which team Atlanta was. I think they're closer to the team we saw last night than they are the team that we saw against Carolina. I'm not saying they're the best team in the league, but their defense is starting to play good, and that's what's really. If you look over the last couple of years, is kind of held them back has been their defense, not being able to stop anybody. And then if they get Bijan Robinson going, you're in trouble. Like Bijan Robinson might be the best player in the NFL. Like the dude is reminds me a lot of Marshall Faulk. Reminds me a lot of Marshall Faulk back in the 90s. Marshall Faulk was one of the first running backs we saw that was you could put out as a receiver, and you can do the same thing with Bijan Robinson. You could line him up. They could trade him to another team as a receiver, and a team could use him as a receiver, and not even use him as a running back if they wanted to. Like that's how athletic the dude is. And he's just a dynamic runner. You saw what he did on the ground last night. So the Bills, to me, and I think a lot of people are overlooking. They had a lot of guys out. So I think the Bills will be all right. They do got to figure out the run defense, but I think a lot of that is is Milano being out, not having him in there. He was a big part of their run stopping. But then on offense, they had Knox out, Palmer got hurt, so they didn't have some of their weapons, and Josh Allen just never could get in any rhythm really last night. But no, you have to give credit to the Falcons defense. Falcons defense was able to get put pressure on him, on Allen, and forced him into some mistakes. But I mean, if you look at it, like, it's kind of weird because, Atlanta ran the ball real good, but they only had if you look at time of possession, they didn't have the ball, but only like 3 minutes longer than the Buffalo. But the big thing was that they only had the ball like 3 minutes longer, but they ran like 10 or 11 more plays on offense than what Buffalo was able to get off. So it wasn't like the time you would think, as much as they ran the ball, that they would the time of possession would have looked a little more. But the Buffalo defense did do better in the second half, slowing the Falcons offense down. The first half, Falcons offense was scoring, it seemed like every time they touched the ball. Second half of that game was a little more of a defensive battle. But both games were good games for a Monday night.
Yeah, it was. One thing that surprised me about Atlanta, I seen some stats that's kind of shocked me, especially since they lost that one game 30 to nothing. They are a top 5 offense in the league, and they are not a top 5 defense in the league. I actually think in one category they're number 1, and the other one the 2. But I can't remember which was which, so that's why I went with the top 5. But they're top 5 in defense and offense. So I mean, they're a team to keep an eye on. The thing is, can they be consistent? You know, there have been a team that hasn't won a lot of games always, and can they learn how to win? I know people are going to say, well, you're either good or you're not. Well, not always. Sometimes it can be, they got to learn how to win the games maybe they shouldn't win, or the tight games. That's always been Atlanta's problem, is winning the tight games. So we'll see if they can move up and start winning some of those games. But they looked very good yesterday. The next game last night was the Chicago Bears defeating the Washington Commanders 25-24. Real close game. Chicago won it right at the end on a field goal. Chicago had 381 yards of total offense, 145 yards rushing. Washington had 329 yards of total offense, 124 yards rushing. But the big key in this game was 3 turnovers. And that's how Chicago got set up to win this game, especially there right at the end. They got a turnover, quarterback fumbled the football. Daniels fumbled the football and give Chicago the ball back. Because Washington was getting close to being scoring position. They was running out the clock. And turnovers cost Washington this game. Chris, your thoughts on this game?
I watched quite a bit of the game. I fell asleep during I think it was fourth quarter. Yeah, I think there was 10 minutes, like 9-10 minutes left in the fourth quarter. Washington should have won this game. Like you said, turnovers, and they were in control. And even toward the end of the game, like you said, they were in control. Could have very easily ran the clock out, won that game, and then you turn the ball over. But it's hard to win games if you turn the ball over 3 times. Bears offense is looking better. Definitely seeing a little bit of improvement in Caleb Williams. He's not giving up on the play so quick, trying to execute the play before he starts to try to play hero ball. And if they can get him to do that, I think their offense, they got some weapons on their offense. DeAndre Swift was running the hell out of the ball last night for the Bears. So to me, Washington has to figure out the run defense a little bit, but the big thing for them is just don't turn the ball over. I mean, you don't turn the ball over, even giving up 150 yards rushing, you win that game. So, Washington turned the ball over 3 times and still had more time of possession than what Chicago did. So, I mean, if you just looked at the stats on this game, you would think that Washington would have won this game. They had more first downs, better on third down, ran basically the same amount of plays, had less penalties, punted the ball less, allowed less sacks. Like the only thing that the Bears did better than Washington really was run the ball. And that was only by 20 yards more.
Yep.
They passed the ball by 30 yards more, but the big thing was the 3 turnovers. I mean, that's the difference. the difference in that game.
Yeah, I agree with you. The other thing I had to talk about was Penn State firing their coach. But before we get to that, yesterday's show, we got to talk about the Colts and IU, and you had to miss some of the show. So I want to give your thoughts. We went to the Colts game. Give your thoughts on the Colts win over Arizona, and then your thoughts on IU and Oregon, and then we'll close out the show with the Penn State firing Franklin.
No, the Colts Arizona game, that was a blast. I had a great time actually being there at the game. Me, you, and of course Alston, and then some other family with Stevie and Liam. But I thought the Colts played a pretty good game. Our pass defense wasn't great, but we also do have some injuries at corner. Also, one of our secondary guys got a concussion before the game ever started, Ward. So he was out. But even with that being said, our pass defense wasn't great. But if you looked at that game, like, we could have been up by more in the first half than what we were. We kind of let Arizona hang around that first half, and then that second half, they started making some plays in the passing game, and hell, it even took the lead in that game at one point there in late in the third quarter. But I like the way the Colts responded right after Arizona got that touchdown to take a 3-point lead. The Colts came back, got a quick touchdown to get up by 4. Like what I'm seeing now, Daniel Jones, he made one bad throw that game on that interception, which we ended up getting right back, that was a crazy sequence in the game. But no, I like the way Colts look. I know a lot of people, you barely beat the Cardinals, and the Cardinals record. Cardinals aren't a bad football team. Cardinals very easily could have a better record, but the only really bad loss they have was the Tennessee, and they blew that game with stupid mistakes at the end. But other than that, all their other games have been close games they've been in. They have a lot of injuries, and they lost their running back or their top running back. I mean, they've had some issues there. So, but still, Arizona's not a bad team. They have a decent defense.
Yep.
So, I was real happy. So I was happy with the way the Colts won. Is a big win as well, especially with Jacksonville losing, because now that puts us a game ahead of Jacksonville in the AFC South. And now we have the best record in the AFC.
Yes. If it ended right now, we'd be the number 1 seed. So
can't complain. If you're a Colts fan, you can't complain too much at all about how this year's went so far. We very easily could be undefeated. But you can also say, if we'd have won that Rams game, you could also say we could have lost the Broncos game because the way it ended. So, I mean, like I said, we could be undefeated, or we could just have one loss and it could be to a different team. So, I mean, I watch a lot of football, and I think the Colts are just as good as any team in the NFL right now. And they've been playing as consistent, if not been the most consistent team so far. I mean, we've seen Buffalo stumble. We've seen the Chargers, who looked real good at the beginning, stumble a couple times. I mean, if you look at it, Colts have been one of the most consistent teams.
Yes, I agree. Got a big game. I know the record's not fantastic, but the Chargers are a pretty solid team. Have a pretty good defense. So that'll be a tough game coming up on Sunday. Next thing, yes, is LA. 4:00 start. Next up, want to talk a little bit about IU getting that big victory over Oregon in Oregon. Beat the number, I believe Oregon was number 3 at the time. We were 7. So that's I think almost kind of flip flopped. I think we're 3 now, and Oregon's like 7 or 8. So your thoughts on that game, real quick?
I think it's bullshit. The coverage, the way that game has been covered. First game of the year, you get Ohio State and Texas. Supposed to be number 1 Texas, number 2 Ohio State or whatever. And all you heard for like 3 days after that game was about how big of a win it was for Ohio State, and about how Arch Manning didn't look good. IU goes into Oregon, where Ohio State ain't been able to go win. Ain't none of these other teams been able to go into Oregon to win and dominate Oregon. and it barely even gets talked about. Like you watch the sports shows yesterday on Monday, or listen to them on the radio. They just kind of want to gloss over it. Don't want to give IU no respect at all. Last year it was, your schedule was, you played a bunch of cupcakes. You don't deserve to be in the playoffs, and we lose to Notre Dame in the playoffs. See, we told you guys didn't deserve to be in the playoffs. Only 2 teams to beat IU last year were the national champion and the runner-up. Then this year, we go beat Illinois by 50, who was a top 10 team at the time, and then we play another top 10 team and dominate them. Like if you, I don't know if people watch that game. If you watch that game, IU dominated that game. Like that game, the score was closer than what that game really was.
Yeah.
And if it wouldn't been for the pick six, that game would have been 30-13.
Yeah.
If it wouldn't been for the one bad throw our quarterback made in that late in the second half, that game could have been 30-13. Like IU's defense only gave up 40 or 53 yards in the second half of that game to an offense that's been scoring over 30 points a game every game except that one. And it's just like people don't want to give them no respect at all over it. But I just hope we keep playing like we are. IU has a good chance of running the rest of the Big Ten, running the table, the rest of the Big Ten schedule, and getting a chance to play probably Ohio State for the Big Ten title in the Big Ten championship game. And right now, we're setting ourselves up for a big chance of hosting a home playoff game.
Yes. My question is, Chris, let's say we went out and we make it to the championship game of the Big Ten, and Ohio State's the champion of the Big Ten too, and we play for the 2 conference winners play for the Big Ten championship. And it's a possibility if we win out, Ohio State wins out, depending on what Miami does. We could be 1 or 2. So let's say we play that game and we lose to Ohio State. Let's say we lose to Ohio State by 3 points. Should we still be a top 4 seed?
Yeah.
Or even for Ohio State. Let's say Ohio State loses by 3 points to us. Should they still? I think so.
I think they will. I think yes, because the only loss either one of them would have would be to the team that was either ranked number 1 or the team that was ranked number 2. So to me, if Ohio State's 1, Indiana's 2, and Indiana beats Ohio State by 3 points, to me, Ohio State shouldn't move no farther down than 2, maybe 3 if you wanted to put the team that was at 2. And then if IU loses, loses to number 1, and you lose by 3 points. To me, you should stay at 2 unless like the third place team got a big win or something, and they moved them up, and you go to 3. But I don't.
Yeah.
If you look last year, they really didn't move. They didn't really penalize a team too much for losing in the conference championship game. If you look last year for the playoffs, so I think if IU and Ohio State are 1 and 2 going into the thing, I think no matter what the outcome of that game is, both of them will be top 4. I think the only way one of them, unless the game was just like a big blowout and just one of the teams looked absolutely terrible,
yeah,
then maybe you fall back a little bit more. But if it's a competitive game, I don't think you fall back much at all.
Yeah, IU's going to be favored the rest of the games on the schedule. Of course, it is Big Ten, our conference games, so there's nothing guaranteed. I mean, we're going to have a big rivalry game with Purdue. The game that a lot of people thought was going to be a big game was going to be Penn State and IU, and now Penn State's lost 3 in a row. They've lost their starting quarterback, and we're going to talk about their coach getting fired. But Penn State still, I'm not going to say, oh, well, we've got Penn State. They got a lot of talent on that team.
Yeah.
I mean, they have a lot of guys coming back from last year, maybe changing coaches, maybe they turn things around. I'm not saying they're going to be a playoff team, but Penn State's still nothing to, say, hey, we know we got them beat. So IU's going to be favored, but hopefully they can run the table. So let's talk about Penn State firing their coach. I was shocked. I wouldn't have been surprised him getting fired maybe at the end of the year. But I was shocked after we're losing 3 in a row. One of them was in Oregon in overtime. And then, of course, UCLA was a tough loss. I understand UCLA was 0-4. They just fired their coach. And then they start playing great. And really, the score that was on the scoreboard wasn't that close. UCLA dominated Penn State in that game. And then you turn around and lose to Northwestern. But you did lose your quarterback, your starting quarterback in that game, and is out for the season. So,
Yeah,
Chris, your thoughts?
But yeah, they were losing that game with their starting quarterback in there.
True. But it was a close game.
Yeah, it was a close
22-21. So your thoughts on Penn State firing James Franklin?
In a way, I was surprised because to me, what good does it do firing them now? Because you're bringing in you're bringing an interim coach in, or you're having that guy be the interim coach. That guy has been there with James Franklin for all 13 years. So what's that guy going to do so much different than James Franklin that's going to turn you around this year? You know, I mean, you're going to think they have pretty much the close to the same philosophies and stuff. They've been coaching together that long. So so how big of a difference is it going to make? I think what happened. I think that's why a lot of these, not just schools, you see some of these NFL teams do it, is they overreact. They listen to the media and overreact. They listen to all these people and they need to fire him. And he can't win a big game. Blah 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 blah. And then their fan base starts saying the same stuff, and you see these teams kind of like give in, like they have to do something to try to make their fans happy. Yeah. And a lot of times when a team does that, it backfires. James Franklin's a good football coach. Has he been able to win the big game there at Penn State? No, he hasn't. He hasn't. But what's the guarantee that this new coach that you're going to bring in is going to be able to win 10 or 11 games every year and have you in the national championship conversation like James Franklin has the last few years? So I understand they haven't got to where they want to get, but I think you'd have been smarter to finish this season out, and then if you want to make a change, make a change. Yeah. I mean, think about it. They lost in overtime to Oregon. I mean, people lost to overtime and had scored a touchdown in the 2-point conversion in overtime. Looked like they were going to win it, and then of course they ended up losing that game. And then now 2 weeks later he's fired. The last 2 weeks have been terrible. The Oregon loss wasn't a bad. No. I understand that people want to say it's a bad loss because he ain't won that kind of game, but still, it's not. Oregon's a really good fucking football team. Like, and that game could have went either way. It wasn't like they got blown out. Like that game, Penn State could have very easily beat Oregon.
Yep.
Now the other UCLA loss, they looked terrible. And then one thing I didn't like about Franklin was when he tried to kind of blame the travel about having to go to Oregon and then having to travel, or you having to travel all the way out west to UCLA because Oregon was at Penn State.
Yeah.
And he said he thought that affected the team having to travel. You can't use that as an excuse. So I didn't like that about Franklin when he used that as an excuse. I mean, IU just traveled all the way to Oregon. That's no farther than, or UCLA is no farther than going to Oregon. And they were able to go there, play with the time difference, the travel, and look good. So I mean, we've seen teams do it. So you can't use that as an excuse. You're not the only team that has to go do that. But yeah, I was surprised they've done it now. I figured they would at least wait till the end of the season to fire him. I wish they'd hurry up and hire a coach now, because the name everybody keeps throwing out there, I don't want to hear it. So I want them to hurry up and hire a coach and it be anybody but him, so I don't have to worry about him leaving IU, because we can't lose Cignetti. And I don't think he's going to go anywhere, but I know his name's been mentioned a lot.
Yeah. I think Penn State alumni has made no bones about it. They want Cignetti. I mean, and I think they're willing to come up with a bunch of money, which I think IU would come up with. I mean, I know they just give him a raise and another contract, but they would probably give him another raise to try to keep him. I don't think he's going anywhere. At least I hope not, but you never know. The other name is but he's already come out and said no, but you've had coaches come out and say no before and then still leave, and that's Matt Rule of Nebraska, because he's from Penn State. So
graduated from Penn State.
So that would be to me would be a good fit for them. But again, he's starting to build something in Nebraska. But he'd have a lot easier time recruiting and getting better. And as far as that goes, Cignetti would probably. Do you think, even since IU is really on the uptake, do you think he would still have a big advantage, Cignetti going to Penn State and be able to recruit? I think so, probably. Just that name.
That and money. Yeah. Penn State has. I mean, Penn State I think they spent like $50 million on their football roster this year. Like there's a lot of money there at Penn State where there's a lot more money. He'd have a lot more resources money wise at Penn State to get players to get some of those players than what he does at IU. IU has a lot of IU has some donors and stuff because you have some people, former alumni there with some money, but I don't think, but IU's not putting the type of money in their football program as like Penn State has been. And
Well,
so you would have that advantage there. But I don't see Cignetti leaving. But, I mean, you never know. And I hope not because, like I said, this is the best IU football has ever been. And I'm hoping he's around for a while.
And he has no 5-star recruits. He don't have that. He's got 3-star and 4-star recruits that he's winning with. And I think it's the culture. I think it's a style.
But the thing is, if this year goes like it does, he's going to be able to start getting some of them. Might be able to start getting some of them 4 or 5-star recruits because of what the team's done the last 2 years. But if you go to Penn State, you can get those recruits.
Yep, that's true. Well, Chris, that's all I had for today. I say we get out. Hey, do you have the videos handy? That you could play for our contest.
Let me see if
We're doing a contest on GWR. Pro wrestlers have been doing promos, and we got a promo battle tournament going on. We had one winner from our last week's contest, and now we're going for our second winner, and them two will face off in a couple of weeks. And we got 4 videos here that you can go to our website and vote on. Thought maybe Chris can play them real quick if we can get to them. Our winner from last week was Bob Steele, with an excellent promo that he did, and he won the first week.
All right, let's see.
Well, finally, GRW got some sense. You got the true man, the myth, the legend, superstar TJ Powers. Yeah, that's right. The true legend. And all I have to say about GRW is you guys couldn't find your way out of a wet bag if it was ripped. Chris and Tony, you guys run around in circles at McDonald's. Then you got the world's biggest jabroni, Marcus Fine. And then you have Warren Misery. If he's hanging out with you 3 guys, it has to be Misery. The only one worth anything on this show is Kelly. And Miss Kelly, you are the best. But for the rest of you, I really don't know where to start. But you can start one thing. The superstar's coming back. And when I come back, things ain't going to be nice.
That was our first one, the legend TJ Powers. And our next video promo.
GWR. I'm not going to be like everybody else and run you down, all right? Because GWR has been an important piece of Indiana's independent wrestling for years now. Just like the Buck Sexton. Okay, yeah, this doesn't feel right. There we go. That's better. Who would have ever thought that I would talk about you 4 or 5 or however many idiots you have at the show now in anything but disdain? I can't believe you guys would try to pair me up against these other 7 guys in a tournament that should just be named after the Buck Sexton. There's not a person in this state, whether they're on a podcast or not, that can hold a candle to me on a microphone. So everybody, have fun finishing second because the Buck Sexton owns every microphone in Indiana.
That was number 2. That was the Buck Sexton. And the promo battle tournament, number 3.
I think it's this one.
So I want to address something real quick. You know, as I'm sitting here on my couch, just got in from a flight, just got back from another state, doing another show, I get a call from Tony Gonzalez. Chris Gonzalez. Most of you know them as GWR. Saying, you know, hey, we're going to do this thing on our podcast, which nobody cares about, your lame-ass podcast that you talk about nothing on. We're going to do this promo off, and we thought you'd be a good candidate. Did you really? Because who freaking else would be a better candidate than Brody freaking Botkins? As I'm sitting here relaxing, I get my time interrupted by you schmucks. A guy that has short-term memory loss, Marcus Fine, who thinks he's the man, when clearly I'm the damn man around here. You got Tony Gonzalez and Chris Gonzalez that don't have a clue of what the hell they're talking about. And then you got Mr. Misery. He's the only one that's got any kind of sense on that show. So, if this is what you needed and this is what you wanted, this is what you got, GWR. You wanted a promo. You wanted me to tell you the truth. The truth is, your show sucks. Is that good enough for you?
That was number 3 in the promo battle contest, Brody Botkins. And number 4,
Gonzo's Wrestling Room. Marcus. Miss Kelly. Tony, Chris. Warren, my guy. As you guys already know by now, this is the generational hater, Mr. Friday Night, Mr. Must See, a man of many names, but you could call him one of the greatest tag team wrestlers in Indiana, and your AVW No Limits champion. I gotta say, they asked me to do this promo and uplift them, but Chris, Tony, there's nothing really to uplift considering you guys are both an average of combined height of 5'5". The only thing you guys need to lift up is maybe a couple of inches in the heels of your shoes. Marcus, Kelly, the Road Warriors, the most consistent people in GWR and independent wrestling as fans. It's respectable, it's commendable, but the problem is the disrespect, the hate on the triple champion, the New Age belt collector. You see that? Now, this is a celebration of years of you guys' hard work, and I will commend you for that. But this is also a celebration and a reminder that for years to come, the only thing that GWR should care about is Mike Noble. Because when it comes to everybody else, sorry, all that weight's getting a little heavy on me. There's nobody quite like Noble. And GWR, I know you guys recognize that. I'll be seeing you guys around.
and that was number 4 in the promo battle contest, Mike Noble. So please, if you like these videos, come check out. Come go to our website, Gonzo Sports Room, and you can vote. See the videos again, and you can vote. I think vote lasts till a couple days now, next 48 hours or so. So please vote for who you think was number 1. You only get 1 vote for the contest, and we'll get a winner from this week, and then in a couple weeks, the 2 guys will promo battle against each other. So, and we'll get a GWR promo battle champion. So that's all I got. Please go vote. Chris, you got anything?
No. Please hit that subscribe button on YouTube at Gonzo Sports Room and at ESEN. And we'll see you guys tomorrow right around 2 o'clock.